Good afternoon. I'm Peter Sparanese, City Manager for the City of Abbotsford. Today, Mayor Henry Braun will be providing you with an update on the state of emergency, evacuation orders, and discussions with Whatcom County, as well as some information on the repair and the recovery works that have been completed to date. I ask that you hold all questions until he has completed his remarks. Also, staff will be on hand with microphones, as we would like to be able to capture your questions as part of this briefing today. So please ensure that you speak loudly into the mic. Thank you, and over to our Mayor, Henry Braun.
Thank you, Peter, and good afternoon, everyone. I'd like to start by acknowledging that we are located on the traditional territories of the Semith, Matsqui, Lakamal, and the Kalakamal, First Peoples. I'm Henry Braun, the Mayor of Abbotsford, and with me today is our City Manager, Peter Sparanese. At 3 a.m. this morning, with nearly 2 inches of water coming across the U.S.-Canada border near Huntington Village, we issued an immediate evacuation order for Huntington Village. This order was later scaled back to include only a portion of the village once staff were able to conduct additional assessment. Currently, the northern boundary of the evacuation order includes all of 2nd Avenue to the U.S. border on the south, Sumas Way on the west, and 2nd Avenue to Southern Railway, including the glass plant on the east. The order impacts approximately 90 properties. The water finding its way across the border right now is a combination of rainwater and snowmelt, and the strong overnight winds are continuing to push it towards Abbotsford. The new evacuation order is a precautionary measure for residents, and as we mentioned, we ensured that everyone was given as much notice as we could by having emergency services crews going door to door, advising residents of the order. Evacuees in need of support can register with the Emergency Support Services online at ess.gov.bc.ca or by going in person to the reception center at Tradex. I missed the phone number, or by calling 604-814-1296 or going to the Tradex reception at 1190 Cornell Street. Whatcom County has just advised that floodwater has overtopped the dike along Nooksack River and Emerson Road. The floodwater is moving towards Main Street, where they have a monitoring system that notifies us. We expect that flow to reach Abbotsford later today. They shared that their dike and repairs are currently holding up. Their National Guard continues to sandbag key areas today. We are watching these levels very closely and continue to stay in close contact with Whatcom County. We also continue to watch water levels at a number of critical locations in Abbotsford and Sumas Prairie. So far today, we've received about 100 millimeters of rain. This accumulation has raised water levels in Sumas Prairie lake bottom by 3 inches. Yesterday it decreased, but today it's gone up. Despite this, conditions remain stable across the flood zone at the moment, with Barrowtown Pump Station fully operational. Many crews worked around the clock to best protect us for this weather event and the ones coming this week. All temporary dike repairs are complete between Number 4 Road and Marion, Atkinson Road, and Cole Road. We are also 50% complete with mitigation work approved by Emergency Management BC this week, which includes the adding of an additional 1/2 meter of height to the dike for the 6 to 7 kilometer section southwest of Barrowtown Pump Station. The Canadian Armed Forces continue in their sandbagging efforts today and have been essential in getting countless sandbags in place in Huntington Village, historic Claiborne Village, and the community of Arnold. I'd like to thank the many volunteers that also showed up yesterday to support these efforts, and those who helped their neighbors. Together, everyone has helped put us in the best place possible for this weather event. While the flooding we are seeing today is not as significant as the first weather event 2 weeks ago, we are once again seeing localized flooding in historic Claiborne Village. Even with sandbagging and the clearing of the sediment in the creek, this area of Abbotsford has seen some water overflow above the enhanced berm put in place earlier this week. This area remains under evacuation alert at this time, and Claiborne Road is closed between Highway 11 and Wright Street as it is under 18 inches of water and rising. Yesterday, some work was done in the Arnold area of Abbotsford. While there has not been a breach in this area, we are taking every precaution and wanted to put in place some preventative planning and pre-positioning of materials to support Nooksack overflows. We remain extremely concerned about the coming weather events and the impact they will have on our flood situation. I was able to see firsthand the impact of the rain today at Huntington Village, historic Claiborne Village, and in Arnold. The impact and the flooding and the continued risk of flooding has on the people living in these areas is unbelievable. As the rain continues, I want to remind everyone to please remain safe out there. Many roads have pooling water which can easily pull your vehicle off the road if you drive through it too fast. Take it slow and please stay away from areas impacted by floodwaters to allow emergency services personnel quicker access. I know this is a difficult and uncertain time for everyone impacted by the situation, but please know we are focused on your safety and will continue to update you as we can. As always, we will continue to keep you informed of changes and updates in the water levels in Abbotsford throughout our daily updates, as well as on the City of Abbotsford website and social media channels. That is my update for you today, and I will take any questions.
Mr. Mayor, David Mulco from CTV News. Thank you for that update here. Can you give me a sense of what the floodwaters from the Nooksack may or may look like, what we do or don't know at this point from talking to officials on the other side there? What do we know?
Well, only that in the last half hour, things have changed, and we can expect that water here sometime later today. There's some pooling that's taking place between the Nooksack River and Emerson Road. Once that area, which is a significant area, is filled, it's going to go over Main Street, and then it's headed here. There's nothing to stop it after that.
Yesterday you talked about how it's like an ice cube tray that kind of spills over from bucket to bucket, field to field. How full is that tray right now from your perspective?
I don't know. We don't have intelligence. I'm not sure anyone knows that, but I do know from my own fields that the land is super saturated. There's none of that water is going into the ground. That's coming straight over like a surfer on top of the water that's there. It'll come here a lot faster than in the previous event.
You talked about pre-positioning supplies in places like Arnold. Can you just go into a little more detail about what that is and what that looks like?
They have these great big tote bags. They're white and they're about 4 or 5 feet high. So there's a number of them out there and they're filled so that they can move them very quickly with a bobcat or a tractor with forks on it wherever it's needed. And of course, there's lots of the smaller sandbags as well. So it's just we're getting ready, and we are as ready as we can be. Now we have to wait to see what happens.
I've lost track of days. I'm sure you have too. I think we're 2 weeks in here. What do you not have right now that you need?
I can't think of anything that we have right now other than the rain. I wish the rain would stop, but we don't have control over that. The federal government and the provincial government, in my discussions with Prime Minister Trudeau and Premier Horgan, I always stumble over that. It's Horgan, not Horrigan. I know that, but anyways, my apologies, Mr. Premier. We have everything we need we can't just throw more stuff at it because there isn't room or the men and the materials to do anything. We've topped the dikes. The dikes are in better shape today than they were before the first event. They're higher, half a meter higher along that Barrowtown stretch, so we now have to wait to see what happens.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor Braun. Kamal Karmali, Global News. You just said right now that the swell from the Nooksack River is heading here, and then there's nothing there to stop it. What did you mean by that? Aren't the sandbags enough from the work that's been done over the past few days?
Well, I don't know what's all south of the border, but sandbag walls are not going to stop the Nooksack. That river is 1/10 the size of the Fraser, and the Sumas River is 1/10 of the Nooksack, so you can imagine what kind of water flow is coming there. But there was a tray there between Nooksack and Emerson, and once that's filled, it's going to overtop, move across Main Street, and then it's just flat fields. It's at an incline, but it's all pointed in our direction. That is the the lay of the land right to Barrowtown. Our dike is ready for water. We don't know how much water will come, and this is going to become very fluid. This is only 20 minutes. We were aware of this 20 minutes before 2 o'clock, so we will be getting some briefings right after this as well.
Sandbag barriers are about 2 feet high. Is there regret on not making that higher? Could that have helped?
2 feet higher where?
The sandbag barriers along the
In
border-
Abbotsford?
In Abbotsford.
No. That's to protect the Huntington Village and direct direct the water away from Huntington Village to the eastern side of the prairie into the berry fields and grass fields. If we wanted to try to stop the Nooksack, I'm not even sure we could do that, but you'd have to build a dike 18 feet tall. That's what it would take, and all that would happen is the water would flood somebody else out. But no, an 18-foot sandbag wall is not going to hold anything. But
You said you said earlier today much of the flooding so far has been because of rainfall and snow melt rather than the Nooksack River swelling. Was that anticipated as well? Because we heard a lot about the concerns around the Nooksack, but not as much around snow melt and rainfall.
well, the temperature increased yesterday, so last night it was 13 degrees Celsius here, and I know that that means there's at the 6,000 to 7,000 foot level, freezing level, there's a lot of snow that fell in the last week or 10 days that is now melting, and that's contributing to the rainfall. So it is what it is. We can't stop that. So we are as prepared as we can be, and now we have to keep our fingers crossed and hope that our dikes, the Sumas River dikes, will hold all of that water that is about to arrive here in the next 24 hours.
Earlier today on Global News Morning, you said that today is the day we find out how severe the impact of this parade of storms, or at least this storm, will be. We'll find out later today in a few hours. Based on what you've seen so far, has it exceeded or fallen short of, a worst-case scenario or what you were anticipating?
We are in better shape than we were with the Sumas Dike before the first event. We are ready as we can be. What we don't know is, was there any damage done to the integrity of the dike that we can't see? Because there is water behind it on the Sumas River side, so the water hasn't gone down far enough that we can actually look at that. But I am confident, and I want to reassure Abbotsford that we have done what we can do, and we are ready as we can be for the event that is about to unfold. And maybe it'll stop raining and the water will go in a different direction. I don't know, but based on all previous projections, that water is coming our way in the not too distant future.
Thank you.
It's Pat Penner, Abbotsford News. I'm wondering about the evacuees from the Huntington area. I was there earlier this morning, and it seemed like a lot of people were hanging around and not everyone had been evacuated.
Well, this is the importance of the evacuation order to begin with, because I said yesterday, things could unfold very quickly. And in the last 2 hours, that's exactly what has happened. And I would urge them to heed our warnings, to obey the orders, and to leave, because tomorrow the world may look quite different over there. TradeX is set up. I don't get down to that level of detail. I have no idea how many people left, how many people stayed there. That's an operational issue. I try to stay out of that. But if you want to check with our staff at some point, they can provide you that information. But there was 90 properties impacted by the new order this morning.
Could you give me a sense of the area that's been sandbagged off? I know you touched on it a bit earlier, but I'm just trying to get an idea of how big a distance has been sandbagged from the U.S. border.
From the U.S. border, in Huntington, I think there's about, the last I heard was 1.5 kilometers to the east along the railway tracks to just on the other side of Boundary Road or 2nd Avenue, because it remains a different name when it goes around the corner. So, and I think a couple of 100 feet to the east is what I saw this morning when I was there.
Did that started this morning after the evacuation order was issued?
I was there, yes.
No. When did the sandbagging efforts start?
Oh, they started yesterday.
Okay.
They were basically finished tonight. They may have filled a few things, but that's a level of detail I'm not aware of. Thank you. Anyone else? Appears not. Thank you for being here. Our next update will be at 2 p.m. tomorrow or sooner if things change. Thank you.